Hey everybody, hope your day's going well. We are back with Taylor Swift, The Manuscript. People told me about this one after I mentioned Death of the Author in the All Too Well. I think it was in the behind the scenes video in the reaction about, when a story is out, when a song is out, that it no longer belongs to the artist and that it's now the audience, it's now their story and up to them to interpret it without, the author, influencing their opinion or their interpretation of it. It's always great to know some context, but I really, yeah, I really am a fan of that idea. I believe it was Roland Barthes in 1967 who wrote an essay about that and introduced that concept. And people told me you have to check out the manuscript because that's exactly basically what she mentions in the song. So here we are. I'm also going to be checking out No Body, No Crime because, that title already. Let's just keep it at that. I'm not going to check that one out pretty soon, I hope. So be on the lookout for that one. The manuscript. Let's go. As a writer, of course, that title appeals to me as well. So here we go.
Now and then she rereads the manuscript of the entire torrid affair. They compared their licenses. He said, I'm not a donor, but I'd give you my heart if you needed it. She rolled her eyes and said, you're a professional. He said, no, just a good Samaritan. He said that if the sex was half as good as the conversation was, soon they'd be pushing strollers. But soon it was over.
That's disgusting, dude. Sorry, I wanted to keep it running for a little bit longer, but I don't know if somebody said that to her or who. But dang. I could make some jokes. You can make some jokes about that. But at least do it better than that. That's not good. Yo, first of all, we're gonna have to be googling because we're gonna be learning new words again because of Taylor. Torrid. What does torrid mean? In the context, I can, pretend to know. Very hot and dry. That's it. I've never heard it. Yo, we're learning. Hey, this is not the first time this happened. Taylor, you are expanding my vocabulary. Torrid affair. I might have heard that somewhere, but I have never knew what it meant. Okay, we're learning. I'm gonna have to be writing in English one day, and I'm gonna use torrid. Rereading a manuscript, that's of course what we do as writers. You write your first draft, you read it. Oh man, by the time it's published, you're so sick of it. That's why I'm a fan of Death of the Author. Like, you could have it. I don't want it anymore. You read it like 50 times. And then you go second draft, third draft. But here we get a fade in. This is more like a screenplay script, right? The template that they're using, and the narrator's not really prose in the terms of a novel. Really like that, metaphor of reflecting on the past and saying rereading the manuscript, and comparing licenses. I know in the US it says that if you're an organ donor or not. We don't really have that indication. I don't know how they see that. Maybe you get a card, you get a donor card you put in your wallet in Belgium. But it's a great way of saying, I give you my heart if you needed it. An organ donor, but giving a heart. Woo! Oh, that's why I love doing these. Yeah. She rolled her eyes and said, you're a professional. Meaning actor? No, just a good Samaritan, like somebody who gives. And then we're with that stroller line. I don't know. who said that. Again, the lyric video is really well done, right? With the screenplay template, the setting the scene and stuff. I like that.
Soon they'd be pushing strollers.
Love the piano too.
It was over. In the age of him, she wished she was 30 and made coffee every morning in a French press. Afterwards, she only ate kids' cereal and couldn't sleep unless it was in her mother's bed.
Dang.
Then she dated boys who were her own age, with dartboards on the backs of their doors. She thought about how he said, since she was so wise beyond her years, everything had been above board. She wasn't sure.
Oh man. I really like the the slowness of it all. Is that a term? Like the piano started off like just a few keys here and there, a few notes, and then like strings come in. But I really like that. It's like, really, this is listen. It's like telling me to listen to what I'm saying. That's good. In the age of him, that's a great line as well. To refer to an era or a period in your life. And in the age of him, right? When I was together with him, I wished I was that old. Maybe it would have turned out better. Or she's looking to the future where she's older and doing all these things, making coffee every morning in a French press. That's a lot of work. If you have money, just get one of those super automatics. You press a button. Now, I know. Some people want to do all the fancy schmancy stuff. But then after him, she only ate kids' cereal. So the juxtaposition between coffee and cereal, the one is considered adult, one is considered kids. And she couldn't sleep unless it was in her mother's bed, and that happens too. When you're sad or you had a nightmare, you go sleep in your parents' bed to, or else you're scared, and you're sad. Ooh, that's so good. Very, very powerful juxtaposition. I like that. And then she started going dating boys her own age with dartboards on the back of their door. Yo, Taylor, come on. You can't be dissing darts like that. I do it too all the time. People be watching that. Like, these are the athletes now? I used to do this in pubs and cafes. We're watching this on TV. Oh, if my friend... some of my friends, they love that. Like, what? I got a dartboard in the garage. It's collecting dust. It's just sitting there on a shelf. Oh, man. All the dart people going to come at me, man, with their... Yeah. Yo, come get me, yo. With your... Oh, man. Oh, this reaction has gone off the rails, yo. And let's get back on track. She talked about how he said, since he was so wise beyond it. First of all, that's another line that could be manipulative, right? He could just say that just to make somebody feel like, oh yeah, but it could just be lying. It might be true. She is, like most women are, compared to dudes, right? You just seen me. 36, still act half my age sometimes, but Peter Pan, he had a good idea. And yeah, so that line is a double thing. Like, oh yeah, that's a nice compliment, or it's another trick to manipulate you. She wasn't sure. Everything had been above board. She wasn't sure. Good stuff. Whoo! respect his music, dude.
And the years passed like scenes of a show. The professor said to write what you know. Looking backwards might be the only way to move forward. Then the actors were hitting their marks, and the slow dance was alight with the sparks, and the tears fell in synchronicity with the score. And at last, she knew what the agony had been for. The only thing that's left is the manuscript. One last souvenir from my trip to your shores. Now and then I reread the manuscript, but the story isn't mine anymore.
Fade out. There it is. There's the line. Yeah, man. I agree with that. It's now the audience. It belongs to the world, and like, you know, I interpret certain lines different. Then I see people in the comments saying this, that, and it's all good. It's all good, right? That's the whole idea behind Death of the Author. That, yeah, it's up to your interpretation and lens. Of course, she might be writing about a situation specific to her, but maybe we can apply it to our own lives. Some of these lines, some whole songs, like sometimes it feels like a song is written for you, like it's a copy paste of your own life. You know, fill in the blanks. That's what I love. 50% the author, 50% the reader or the listener's imagination. It's a true collaboration. Now I'm spitting bars here. But let's go over some of these lines. You know, the years past is a great way of showing, again, the reflection that was earlier in the song as well, about rereading the manuscript, like scenes of a show. The professor said to write what you know, a very cliche writer's advice almost, of which is, it's very true, but not always in the way people think about write what you know, like only writing about what you have experienced. Like, I can't only write about being a 36-year-old dude. You know, of course I could write about being an 8-year-old boy because I've been one, but I've also written from the perspective of a 12-year-old girl in one of my novels, and a 60-year-old woman, or a killer, or, you know, a dwarf or an elf. You know, I don't know what an elf is. I've never been an elf, but it's more about what you know as human experience, right? And that is almost universal. Love and obsession, obtrusive thoughts, addiction. I've experienced addiction, but, you know, you can apply that to a serial killer. You know, that's also a type of an addiction, and some of those obsessions are similar. You know, you can ask people how it is. You can do research. You can talk to people, all of that. So write what you know is much broader than sometimes when you first hear it. I like that, that she implemented in that in it. Yo, learn how to talk. See, that's why I became a writer, because, you know, I can hire an editor when I'm speaking. You know, I'm like, oof. Quality goes down severely. Looking backwards might be the only way to move forward. I don't know. You know, as I just said, experiencing addiction and being 3 years sober and all other kinds of stuff that I dragged along from the past. It's more, I don't know if that is something I would advise. It is, like, in the terms of learning from your mistakes and moving on, but then leave it there. You know, whip off those chains of the past and move forward. But then again, life can only be lived moving forward, but it can only be understood backwards. that is something I do agree with. Actors hitting their marks. She had a line about that. Was it in All Too Well about hitting the mark and that? Slow dance aligned with the sparks and the tears fell in synchronicity with the score. And this music feels a bit like a score of a film, right? So yeah, that is definitely another great line sticking within the concept of the manuscript, screenplays, score, hitting the marks. You know, come on. Great stuff. So she knew what the agony had been for. I don't know what she means by that. Maybe that she learned lessons from it. She became a stronger person because of it. Maybe that is what she means. So if you have an interpretation for that, let me know. And yeah, there it is. The only thing that's left in the manuscript. One last souvenir from my trip to your shores. And then I reread it, but the story isn't mine anymore. You know, you have fresh eyes. You've taken distance sometimes, which is great, and you let it go. Good stuff, man. And also, last souvenir from my trip to your shores. Earlier in the song, she said, "Above board, I'm not sure." I was also thinking about this might be a double for seafaring. Shore. Board. I don't know. I didn't mention it because I wasn't sure, but now, sure. Oh my God. My trip to your shore, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching there. Wow. Yes. Thank you for recommending it. Thanks for being here. This was a great song. The music, the score. If any of you have ever seen the show Lost, it has great music in it. Composed by Michael Giacchino, I don't know, Giacchino, who also made the music for Up, that movie, Disney movie. It's a great composer, and it made me think of that. So I'm really a big fan of his. I put that music on sometimes to get me in the mood for writing certain scenes. If you want to get sad, there's some songs in that show that he composed that you really get you going. And it reminded me of that. So I'm a really big fan of this music. Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you for being here. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye. Oh, and to all the Dart people, I love you.